shows in the city out of a hat. And in 1 year, I wanted to have $2,500, a car, and a furnished apartment. And if we go around the room, everybody has their own definition of the American dream, their own idea of what they want, of their own idea of goals. But I think, to me, I kind of took it back to the old school, so to speak, where come over to Ellis Island, you just sold the farm and all your cows and everything, and you got $50, and it's like you don't speak English, and you come over here, and you start over. That's kind of where I was coming from on this. This isn't, in a year I'm going to have like a great, business that's thriving, or I'm not throwing it into the stock market. I want to start with nothing and slowly build, slowly work hard and save my money over time. And in a year, I want to have a little bit of money to go to community college or start my own little landscaping business or whatever. I want to build up slowly rather than throwing out for a quick fix. That's kind of the idea behind the way I wanted to go about this. And like I say, if anybody else did this project, they may have a different idea of what they would like to do. So I told my parents, obviously, what I was going to do. Took my dad out to dinner at the Angus Barn, which is a, really ritzy restaurant. Because this was a great opportunity for me to do this. Because I had about $125 left to my name anyway. So I took my dad out to dinner, told him what I was going to do, told my mom what I was going to do. And, for the most part, they were a little nervous, but they were really more excited because my brother got all my clothes in my bed. My mom was just happy to get me off the couch to go do something with my life. So for the most part, it wasn't that they were nervous for me, but I think at the same time, they knew a little bit about the city where I was going, a little bit more than I did. Because my picture of Charleston, which is the city I picked out of the hat, my picture of Charleston is, Rhett Butler, Gone with the Wind, College of Charleston, Marion Square, downtown with these, lovely girls in their bikinis. This is the picture of Charleston that I have, and I think, have you guys been to Charleston, anybody? Have you guys heard of Charleston? A couple of you, all right. But you have your picture of what you think Charleston is, and that's what I thought. And so for me to get on a train and get off the train in North Charleston, which is literally on the other side of the tracks on North Rivers Avenue, and to be late on a Tuesday evening to kind of be in this whole new world, like, okay, what are you going to do now? And actually, it's funny, I kind of had a similar experience today. I went to the Mall of America, which is probably not cool for you guys, but for me, it was like a pilgrimage to Mecca. It was like, this is the coolest thing. Like, I've been looking forward to coming to this. And so we went there, you do what you do at the Mall of America. You buy a couple jeans, a smoothie, and you play a couple video games, and you get lost, and you spend an hour trying to find out where you parked. And so that's what I did. And it was a similar experience because what are you going to do now? You're in this, foreign place. What are you going to do? Here I am in Charleston with $25. What am I going to do now? And I thought it hit me a lot more, because initially, I just thought it was going to be great. I'll go out with my $25 and it's going to be fun, and I'll get a job and I'll save my money and I'll meet some cool people, and then I'll write a book and Oprah is going to love me. It's going to be great. That's kind of the idea that I had of this. And so for me to get off, and here's this guy is asking me for money, this guy's asking me for money. It's dark, it's not well lit, it's a totally shady situation. I'm stopping every 10 to 15 minutes to ask, not ask questions like, oh, hey, I'm from, such and such, can I ask you a couple questions? But I'm stopping every 10 to 15 minutes to kind of write all these ideas down. Clearly, I'm a foreigner, not just because I look like, because I'm writing but I looked a lot like this just goofy-looking kid. I had short shorts on, I had these floppy socks. people knew that I wasn't from around these parts. And so I walked for about 15 minutes, and this lady of the night came up to me. And I promise you, this is the only time I ever took advice from a lady of the night. But she said, you need to get somewhere. You need to go somewhere. I don't know where it is. And I didn't explain to her my whole story. I just said, I don't have anywhere to go. And she said, you need to get to a homeless shelter. And that's something that had never occurred to me. I figured, I got my sleeping bag, I'll sleep under a bridge. After 3 days, I'll have a job, I'll start saving money, I'll get a place for $100 a week. No problem. This is going to be great. But then once I saw where I was, and people from Charleston that read this book now, they can't believe that it's longer than 12 pages. Considering the area where I was. And so I think for me to be there in that situation, I kind of realized, okay, you need to get somewhere. And when she told me that I need to get somewhere, I went somewhere. And so I went to catch the bus, And there are a couple different altercations, and if you're fortunate enough to win a copy of the book from Quinn, or an iPod, maybe you get the book on audio, I don't know. But there are a couple situations that I kind of have to breeze over that I won't go too much into detail, but there was a near altercation at a bus stop, which fortunately, because later there is in the book, in chapter 15, there is a definite altercation, and I cannot fight at all, and I know that. It's not something where, maybe I'll win this one at the bar. No, I'm 1 in 5 in my life, and that was a lucky punch. I'm not a fighting kind of guy. I'm like a sit down, let's hug it out, let's get a mentor, maybe write a couple apology letters or something. Let's work this out. But the neighborhood where I was, the people that I was associated with, they aren't those kind of people. And so I figured I've got to catch the bus, and luckily the bus came down North Rivers Avenue and picked me up and dropped me off right in front of the shelter. The thing about the shelter, because this was never going to be a book about homelessness. It was never going to be, because that book has been written. You've got plenty of people that have gone out to roam on the trains, or they've written that story. So this was never supposed to be a book about homelessness. But I think I do end up writing a little bit more about it than I anticipated, and I ended up staying there longer than I anticipated because I was so fascinated by this. I mean, I thought that I had a great story in the $25 and the dream and all this that I'm doing, but to meet these guys and to be able to explain what I thought about the dream, and then to hear their responses, and to be able to share Marco's story and Leo's story and Eazy-E and Rico and all these guys, I think it wasn't something where I just wanted to stay there for 2 weeks and then get out. Because I certainly feel like I could have. It was, as soon as I had a little money banked up, I could have gotten $100 a week, little attic or apartment or somewhere to live, but I wanted to stay there. I wanted to really be able to develop these stories rather than kind of touch and go. And so I stayed in the shelter for 70 days, but what I did for the first 2 weeks was day labor. And day labor, if you don't know, is work today, pay today. It's kind of, rather than getting a permanent job, I need to get money now. I need to work 8 hours now, regardless of the pay. I need to work 8 hours now, and I need money now, whether it's an extra $25, $30, $40, whatever. I can't wait 2 weeks to buy pants and shoes and socks and underwear and soap and shampoo. I'm a total pretty boy, so I bought conditioner. I'm probably one of the only guys, I know this. There are a couple of distinctions that I have. One is C-SPAN, which I'll tell you about in a little bit, but the other is conditioner. I'm the only guy in crisis ministries history, which is the shelter I stayed, to have conditioner. So you can hold your applause to the end on that one, but that's a distinction that I have. But there are things that I need immediately, that I can't wait for until the end. I need these things now. And so I went out to do day labor. I hung baby clothes, I did construction work, just any kind of labor that they would send us out on. But the whole time I'm passing around applications, the whole time, because I know that regardless of getting money now, I know that I need to get a job. As soon as I have a job, I'm good. As soon as I have at least some kind of money coming in on a steady basis, I'm good. Because that's where my strength is going to be here. It's not going to, I'm a hard worker, but I'm really not good at anything. I don't have a skill or a trade. I'm not good at anything, but I will work hard. I'll bring in a steady paycheck, but more importantly, I'll be able to budget my money. I think one of the flaws that I saw with Nickel and Dime was that she was living in a hotel. She was buying $40 pants. She was doing all these different things, and you're not going to make it. Of course you're not going to make it. How can you expect to live on any kind of wage under $10 if you're going to be out here spending crazy money? Even now, I still shop at the Goodwill. I think that I saw that was how I was going to make it. If I'm cooking my own food, preparing my own lunch, I'm going to be able to make it. But more importantly, I was able to see that the guys in the shelter, the guys at the job that I later got, I was able to see that they were making it because they shared those values. If you're buying beer and cigarettes and lottery tickets, you're not going to make it. That's just, you might make it, you might scrape by, but you're not going to be able to get ahead. And so I think to be able to tell the story of a guy like Derek, who I'll tell you about in a minute, to be able to tell that story is what this was all about for me. So the first 2 weeks I'm doing day labor, I'm passing around applications to get a job, and I couldn't get a job. There are help wanted signs in the window, and I know people, even today, in this crazy recession that we're in right now, there are still help wanted signs out there. There's still people hiring. And so I knew people were hiring. But for whatever reason, these 10 applications, the profile I filled out online, down at the library, nobody was calling me back. And so there was one night, I'm going to read a quick excerpt. There was one night that I was at the shelter, and I was kind of complaining about my situation. You know, I was like, hey, what's going on? I passed out my 10 applications. What's going on? And there was a guy, and I dedicate the whole chapter to him, but there's a guy named Phil Coleman who kind of chimed in. And so I'll read the excerpt, and then I kind of want to talk about what I think about this guy. But at the same time, I want you to think about who you know like this. Not necessarily a homeless guy, but I want you to think about who maybe has made this kind of difference in your life.